Hi, my name is Robert and I'd like to show you a freeware program I've written, which you're welcome to download and use as much as you like on your Windows computer. The program is called Push2Run, and basically what it allows you to do is issue a command to your Google Assistant, your Google Home, whatever, and have it run on your Windows computer. Basically, you can run any command that you would otherwise be able to enter into the keyboard. So let me give you an example of that. Now, in my example, I'm going to use the Google trigger word and a couple of phrases. So if you have your Google Assistant turned on nearby, you may want to just mute the microphone so it doesn't trigger off through this video. So here's the example. So I could say, for example, OK Google, tell my computer to open the calculator.
Okay, I've told your computer to open the calculator.
And there you go, through the magic of electronics and satellites and the such, the calculator opens up on my screen. You might say to yourself, well, big deal, I can do that with Cortana. One of the things that you can do with Push2Run is have that command issued from kind of really anywhere using your Google Assistant. So I could be in the basement if I have a Google Home down there, issue the command. I could be halfway around the world with my cell phone running Google Assistant, issue the command, have it run on my computer from there. So basically, again, how it works is Google trigger command, then a phrase that identifies this particular computer. So in this case, I've said, tell my computer to. I could also say, tell the basement computer to, or tell the computer in, Sally's office to do this or that, and then, so that trigger phrase, that middle part of the trigger phrase, tell my computer to, distinguishes one particular computer as opposed to another. Windows computer, that is. So the last part of the phrase is specific to what you want to have happen. And let me show you a little more about that. So when you open up Push2Run, there's a main menu here, and there's a bunch of entries, and each of these entries you can double click on, open up, and I call these Push2Run cards. So basically in a Push2Run card, there's a description of what the card's all about, the phrases it's going to listen for. So this is the one I did, open the calculator. I could have just as well said start the calculator. And if I say either of those two things, it's going to run Microsoft's calculator program, which is here. So this is what it's going to do. It can actually pass in some parameters to that program, which I'll show you later. And it can actually, even I'll show you this later, it can, once the program opens up the main window, or the window you want it to open up, it can actually send keystrokes to that window, just like as if you were there. So so that's kind of a cool thing too, and I'll show you that as well. You can run with or without administrative privileges, and in terms of when the window opens up, you can open up normally, maximized, minimized, or even have it hidden. And this is all explained in the help. I'll show you the help just a little bit later when we get into a little more detail, but overall that's what you can do. Now the other thing you can do, so these are the phrases it's going to listen for. The other thing you can do is you can use wildcard. This is something that's come out in a recent release. You can change that to a star, meaning basically anything. So if I say the Google trigger word, tell my computer to show the calculator, that would work as long as the phrase ends in the word calculator. So I'll just give you an example of that. OK Google, tell my computer to display the calculator.
Okay, I've told your computer to display the calculator.
So there you go. So there's another thing here. Sorry, I should just mention too, when you have a phrase here, you can either have it on or off. So if it's on, it's listening for it and it'll react to it. If it's off, it's not gonna trigger. And there's a master switch here that can turn everything on or everything off. So that turns everything off, and then that turns everything on, or at least everything that was previously on before you turned it off. There you go. So I'm going to just make a change here. It's for the sake of showing you how this works. I'm going to show you two special cards along the bottom here. They're the, I'll just switch that over a bit, no matching phrases and no matching enabled phrases. And these are kind of like the catch basin. So if I was to say something that didn't have a listen for phrase, it would come up and it would run this program here. So this is a program, NERCMD. You can Google for it. It's a really excellent piece of freeware as well, and it allows you to do many things, include pop up a little information box. So it's going to pop up a little information box saying no matching phrases, and then this $sign, and I'll explain that a little bit later, but fundamentally it's the last part of the phrase that you're saying, and so it'll pop that up. So let me give you an example of that in a second after just explaining this one here. This is the cousin of this guy. Basically, it'll do the same thing, but it will display the pop-up if there are no matching enabled phrases. And the difference between a matching phrase and an enabled phrase is a matching phrase is one that's here someplace, and if it says no matching enabled phrase, it may be here, but it may not be enabled. And so that's why the difference between the two of them. So I'll just turn those both on. I'll go back to my calculator. What I have here is only open the calculator. So if I say, okay, Google, tell my computer to show the calculator, and Google responds.
Okay, I've told your computer to show the calculator.
It's going to have this little pop-up box here. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you how to create your own card. So you just do actions, add, brings up a blank card. Now you can open up a program, you can open up a file. I'll show you that in a second. You can open up a website. So here's a link to Wikipedia. Just drag it over, change the description here, change that, and click OK. So that's going to create a new card in your inventory here. Open Wikipedia. By default, it's going to be off, so we're just going to turn it on. All right, and now I can say, OK, Google, tell my computer to open Wikipedia.
Okay, I've told your computer to open Wikipedia.
And there you go, Wikipedia comes up. So that's a screen I get when I open up my website in certain circumstances. So never mind that, it opened up Wikipedia. Okay, there you go. There we go. Okay, so now let's take a look at opening up a program. So same sort of thing. I'm going to add, so actually it won't be a program, it'll be a file. So this file here, test.txt, it's just a text file. Let me just minimize that. It just says this is a test, is all it is. Okay, so let me go back, open this thing up, add a card, just drag that over. So a little more information being populated this time. Here's the name of the file. It's going to run this program here, Notepad++, which is another really cool piece of software, which is also free, which I recommend highly, which I use as my default to open up text files. It could be, you could open up a Word file or an Excel file here. It doesn't matter. It'll automatically populate the right stuff in here. So here's what that is. So let me just click that. Create a file. Turn it on. Okay, Google, tell my computer to open test.
Okay, I've told your computer to open test.
And there you go. So back to the. So, and just so that you know too here, you could actually say this. This could be, say, let's say that text file had my resume in it. You could say my resume, and then it makes it just a little more user friendly. So you could say, you know, da da da. Tell my computer to open my resume, and then this file here would open up. All right. So now I'm going to show you some other stuff that's also kind of cool. So what this one will do is it's going to actually type some characters for us. So I'm going to use the Google trigger word, say, tell my computer, type what I say, and then here's that $ I talked about. So that $ just means the rest of the phrase. Okay. So if I was to say this, what it's going to do is, as long as I say type what I say and then anything else, it's going to open up Notepad. And then it's going to send to the window that opens up. Keys can be those that you type here, or those which you say, and then it's going to press the enter key, and then it's going to add this variable ending. So this enter key here, it's the word enter in squiggly brackets. If you click on the help, like I said, we'd take a look at the help a little later. Here it is now. It'll just open up the website, which has all the help in it. It describes all these fields that I'm talking about, plus all the keys that you can possibly send. So there's quite a bunch of kind of ones that you can't just type and see, like the shift key or the window key or the alt key, and it explains how that works. You can have delays in between the key presses, pauses, stuff like that. But I'd like you to look at that. All right. So back to this card. Again, I'm going to say something along this line. So it's going to open up, and we'll give it a shot here. Okay, Google, tell my computer to type what I say. The little brown fox jumped over the fence.
Okay, I've told your computer to type what I say. The little brown fox jumped over the fence.
And there you go. Kind of cool. All right, so let me see another couple things here. So in here, I can actually, and I'll probably talk to it more than show you, but in here there is also something called administrative privileges on our card. So let me just, oh well, you know, it really doesn't matter. We'll just do this one with the test one we had here. So sometimes when you run a program, you want to run it with administrative privileges, and that's, if you don't know what that means, then you can just kind of close your ears for the next few minutes, and then you won't care. If you do know what it means and you are interested in it, to run the program with administrative privileges, you just click the thing here and click OK. Then, however, when we run the program, what it'll do is, actually, maybe I'll just show you. That's going to work. All right. So it's open my resume now. Okay, so I'm going to close that. And what I'll do is I'll say that, and what it'll do is it'll give me the Windows UAC prompt. Now you won't see that because of the way that my screen capturing software works, but there'll be a bit of a blank space there, and you'll probably hear me continue to talk. So, okay, Google, tell my computer to open my resume.
Okay, I've told your computer to open my resume.
And you can't see that, but I'm getting the UAC prompt. So there, I clicked OK, yes, and there it worked. You can see then this program is running with administrative privileges. So that can or cannot be very handy, because where's my program here? You might not be at your computer when you run this, and then, well, how are you going to click the administrative privileges button? So there's an option up here in Actions that says Give Push2Run Administrative Privileges. So if I click that, what it'll do is it'll actually give me the UAC prompt. It'll shut down the program, give me the UAC prompt, and open up the program again with administrative privileges. So now that Push2Run has administrative privileges, if I was to issue this command, it would just go ahead and do it without prompting me for the UAC things. UAC privileges confirmation, because an administrative privilege program can open up another program with administrative privileges. So let me just minimize that. Okay, Google, tell my computer to open my resume.
Okay, I've told your computer to open my resume.
And there it is. There was no prompt. It just happened right away. And again, it's opened up with administrative privileges. So open that up. Now, of course, you may not want that to be on there forever, so you can just click this button. It'll do the same thing. It'll close the program and restart it. Because it's not being started with or restarted with administrative privileges, it'll just come up without needing the prompt. So that's kind of a cool thing too. So let me show you passing a parameter into a program. It's pretty basic. I think we kind of already saw it in the those pop-ups for those commands that you know, don't appear on the list. But let me just throw something here in my recycle bin. So there's something in my recycle bin here, which is supposed to come up when I click on it. I don't know what's, oh, it's coming up on I've got a second monitor here, so there it is. Okay, so there it is. That's in my recycle bin. So there you go. All right. So what I'm going to say is, and here's another thing you can do. Each of these fields here, you can do a quick filter on them down below. And so to save you looking for them, I've got one here that says empty the recycle bin. So it's going to run this NIR CMD program that we've seen before, which again is quite versatile. It's going to pass the empty bin command over there, and you can probably guess what it's going to do. All right. So make sure that's on. Clear those filters. Okay, Google, tell my computer to empty the recycle bin.
Okay, I've told your computer to empty the recycle bin.
Okay, so that actually worked. It was more impressive up to about a month ago. Google seemed to have made a change, Microsoft seems to have made a change. It doesn't refresh the recycle bin icon anymore, but if I was just to move over here, you would see that it's actually empty. I didn't click. I'm going to click on it. It is empty. In the past, it would just change that icon, automatically. It doesn't do that anymore. I don't know why. Maybe that's something that they'll leave like that. Maybe that's something they'll fix. Hopefully, it's something they'll fix, because it used to be nice to see that just disappear. All right. So back to the program some more. So that's kind of the main working of the program. There's some options. So these are covered more inside the help. So this is where you set most of your options. For example, if you want it to automatically start when the program begins. So there's one here I want to show you, but this is where there's two files associated with Push2Run. One is your settings file, where all your settings are stored. Anything with a password in it is encrypted. And there's a database file. And the database file contains all your Push2Run cards. So these are the locations of these two files. So that's kind of a really odd location, but it follows Microsoft standards and recommendations on where to put such things. So that's where the settings file, and that's where the database file is. So I can actually click on both of those. Those are actually just buttons. And where is it opening up? Again, it's opening up on my other screen, probably here. Oh, maybe it's opening up in behind. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So that was your settings file. So that shows you, this is your settings file. Also, the program automatically backs up to 7 cycles of your settings file on a daily basis. That's something I've just recently put in as well. So not up to 7 days yet, but that's where your configuration file is. And for some reason, if you do something or something happens to your computer and you want to restore your configuration file, all you have to do is delete that guy, and change the name of one of these backups to user.config. So that's all explained in the README text file here. And in the same way, there's the same thing with the database. All right, and there we go. There's your database file and how to restore the database file. So it's a good idea also maybe to back those two directories up, periodically as well, offsite or whatever. If you're into that sort of protection, it's a good thing to do, generally speaking. The other thing you can do is you can export all of these cards into a single file or import them. You've seen me from that single file. You've seen me taking like websites and files and dropping them in there and adding the card. I can also take an entry here, for example. Here's my Wikipedia entry. That's the Wikipedia site, but here's the Wikipedia Push2Run card. I can actually take that card and drag it over here, and it'll create a Push2Run card. So you can actually share these with your friends or post them online or whatever. But if you wanted to just open that up, you can just open that up with Notepad as an example, and you can kind of see what's inside of that card. So this is really all that's there. So there's nothing hidden or kind of crazy about that. You can do that. You can also just double click on it, and it would well, here it's already in there, but let me just take that out there. There, that's gone. It'll be gone in a second. And if I was to double click on this, it would open up a new add to change card, and just it would put it in there automatically, again turned off. And along the top here, there's a variety of things that these are the various things you can choose to see them or not. There's also a session log, which is kind of a blow-by-blow of everything that you've done with Push2Run since it's last started. So I restarted it when I was doing that administrative privileges stuff. So it's not as long as it you might think it otherwise would be. There's an option there. You can save that to disk and have it just kind of continuously append to if you want over time. There's a little help thing here that shows you this is a click to the main web page, that help page I showed you earlier. There's actually a forum where you can put questions out. There's a license here. You can click on the license, and just basically it'll give you the terms of the license. And there's a little donate button if you're so inclined. Now, the last thing I want to show you is kind of cool, and I've been working on it lately, less so on the program, although I did have to make some changes to the installer. But Push2Run here is running on a Windows computer, which is what you might expect, but I've actually got it running on a Raspberry Pi as well. So here's a Raspberry Pi that I have. I've just remoted into it. I'll show you about my PC. So you can have, this kind of thing set up in your basement or a furnace or something like that if you want, but just running in things in the background, so you don't always have to have your main computer on. So you can see it's a 4 gigabyte Raspberry Pi that I'm running here. It's actually not too bad. It's a little, it's sluggish when you're adding or especially deleting the cards, but when it comes to running things, it's not too bad. Now I'll say that I'm getting kind of the performance I am because I'm running it booted from a solid state drive or an SSD. This is kind of the whole Windows on Raspberry Pi is something new, and it's something that Microsoft, I guess, has been working on. It runs as an emulator under the ARM, but basically you can see it's not too bad in terms of, here's Push2Run. It's not using up much of the system resources in idle. And if I was to say, okay Google, tell my Raspberry to open the calculator.
Okay.
Oop, there it is. So a little sluggish, but it's I think it's really quite cool, and it works in a timely enough fashion. So I thought I'd share that with you. So anyways, that's the program in a nutshell. I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. I've certainly enjoyed making the program. Please visit the website if you want to download and install the program, push2run.com. Thanks very much.